Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Game Master Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video I am going to be doing a recap of my most recent ShadowDark campaign set in Greyhawk, the world of Greyhawk, very specifically the city of Hardby, and this is the continuation. So session one, formally session one. Previously, we had a session zero with a good amount of actual gameplay at the same time. But this is the first official session where they're actually going on an adventure, and three of the four players were able to show up. One is on the mend, so I wish him the best of luck and hopefully for a speedy recovery. We are off this week, and so next week when we return, hopefully that extra week will give him time to recover even more so, and hopefully get some rest, and then we'll be all fully charged and ready to go for next Friday, and a continuation of the story of these four adventurers, which I will start to go into. So, for starters, ShadowDark is an awesome system, and it is so easy to create adventures practically on the fly with very little. Although I did use one of the pre-printed adventures just for this as kind of like a test of them, and I am going to show that off as well. And what I did was I took the general idea of the adventure that came as part of the Kickstarter and the supplemental materials that came with that Kickstarter for ShadowDark, and I changed it and transformed it to fit within the campaign that I am running and in the world setting that both I and my players are experiencing. So I changed the Eroding Isle of the Executioner, which I will show you, to the Eroding Isle of El Morath. All right, and El Morath is what was a wizard of some note who had who had disappeared, and he lived on an island that is just into the main portions of Woolly Bay, about half a day's journey from the city of Harpy, which is a port city, and the players were going to set out, the player characters, I should say, were going to set out to investigate this island, which had a lot of rumors swirling around it, including rumors of a fantastic tree that produced these fruit that were highly sought after on the black market. And that key there, the black market was a key of kind of giving the players through their characters kind of a note of potentially what these fruit apparently are, or the reasoning behind it potentially being sold on the black market as opposed to just something very valuable that you can sell on the primary market or the out in the open market, let's say. So without further ado, let me just switch views here. And so, of course, if you are not familiar, ShadowDark is this book here, and it is an absolute incredible RPG. Came out in late 2023. Actually got my physical copy on the last day of 2023, and it is actually up for quite a few awards, including Game of the Year on the Any awards listings. So you can certainly go to the Ennies and look for the categories that Shadow Dark is up for, and I certainly recommend that you go there and you vote for this and you put this as your first choice, as I have, for game of the year and writing and and the arts and formatting and layout and all of that. I believe it was up for 3 or 4 awards, and I voted for it in every single category as my primary. But the adventure that I was talking about is just like this. It's a single card adventure, and there's all the descriptions of the. I'm holding it upside down. All the descriptions of the what is in each room, and there's a random encounter here, and you have this little map. And because I have the PDF, I was able to kind of cut and paste it and put this map right into the VTT, which I will show you how that worked out as well. And it worked out precisely as a very good 2.5 to 3 hour adventure setting, and the players did spend almost exactly an hour inside the buildings where they had to use their torches, and I was definitely using the 1 hour timer per torch that they were using. And so that whole dynamic and this little adventure worked out perfect for a one shot. So I know now that it is very, very easy to take one of these adventures, and I believe there were like 6 or 8 of them in the pack that came with the Kickstarter, and I'm sure that Kelsey Dion is going to do even more. I know that there are other adventures inside inside the Cursed Scrolls, which are a little magazine packet for them too. So those all have adventures in as well. And I have a very, very strong feeling that these are all designed to be perfect for single session play, and that makes them perfect for conventions. And so I will definitely be looking to create some of my own adventures to use at conventions as well, but definitely use these as a template for adventure design. So that's the next step that I wanted to talk about. And now I'm going to move on to the actual recap of my player's adventure into the Eroding Isle of El Morath. So here we go, and I believe I should be, yes. So you're currently looking at it now. So, and I will try to expand this, make this larger, so that you can see it clearer. But this is all I wrote, right? So I wrote, not a few hours sailing beyond the gap of Woolly Bay, south by southwest, lays an island that was once inhabited by a recluse wizard named El Morath. Long since his apparent passing, the island structure has fallen in disrepair, and the island itself seems to be eroding and sinking into the sea. However, even with the possibility of treasure being present, the island is avoided by sailors, pirates, and even the free mariners. Rumors. The island is presumed to be haunted by the spirit of the wizard. The Sahuagin lurk in the waters that surround it, but even they do not tread within the collapsing villa, which is certainly an experience that the players had, or their characters had. There is a strange tree that bears a fruit that is highly sought after on the black market, which was a rumor that they had learned while they were in the city of Hardby. And at sunset, sailors have seen harpies making roost on the small outcropping on the eastern side of the island. The players actually never heard that rumor, and they did not encounter the harpies, and they did not actually encounter the eastern side of the island as well. And And so here is the recreation of the map. And all I did was, because I had the PDF, I cut it and pasted it, and pasted it and threw it in here. And so all I did was I removed the level. This was originally designed for a 4th level adventure party, and I ran it for a 1st level adventure party. So that's all the writing that I had done. All right, everything else was basically on the card that I modified to kind of fit the campaign and modified it to match the player level, at this point. So now I'm going to switch over to the next view. All right, so here we have, and I will double check to make sure you're looking at this. So here we have the 4 player characters. We have Torvi, the warrior, who is neutral good. ShadowDark does not use the alignment system of Dungeons and Dragons. It just uses neutral, chaotic, and lawful. However, my players wanted their characters to be more aligned with the alignment system and the deities in particular of Greyhawk, and so they put the 2-axis alignment in there, which is fine. So Torvi the warrior is neutral good, and he gets his title from the fact that he is neutral good. So that is the primary of the 2. Brahm the initiate is chaotic good. The initiate is coming from his chaotic side of his alignment, and so therefore that's why he's an initiate and not an acolyte. Glandith the robber is a chaotic neutral thief, and thus robber is connected to the chaotic portion of it. And Philippe the shaman, who's actually a wizard, but shaman is the title given to neutral wizards at levels 0 through 1, and so he is a shaman as of now. So there you have the 4 main characters of this campaign. Now, I told you I would show you the map that we used and how we used it, and so this is quite easily, this is essentially the map that they encountered, and as you can see, there were portions of it that they did not reveal because they didn't go that far into it, and there won't be any returning to it either because I'm just kind of blowing this off now. So the rest of this that was there will have sunk into the sea and is now unrecoverable. So that's how we basically handle that. So now I want to switch to a different view, and let's see if that is working. No, it's not. So let's do this. Let's do oh, nope, that's not it. So I have to change the sources. I don't know if I could bring that source up. Oh, there it is. So let's see if you're looking at it now. Yes, you are. All right, so this is my Discord. All right, and what I do is I put the breakdown of the adventure in the Discord, and I will make sure that I expand this. I will expand this by doing Control that. Oh, there we go. That's huge. That's really big. And let's do a control smaller. Control. Okay. Oh, there we go. That should be better. All right. So this is the format that I use when I'm going over, how and telling the players like a recap. So this is the written recap. So the NPC contacts made during session one. All right, so they spoke once again to Rog Fiddlesnort, the owner of the Cup and Shield, both the tavern and inn that they are staying at. Mortimer Selden was the harbor master who hired them to go and investigate the island of El Morath. Gordon Finn is a fisherboat captain who actually brought them to the island, and he was connected to Mortimer Selden in that he was going to make sure that they gave Mortimer his portion of the goods, his portion of what they were supposed to recover. He basically asked for half of all of the fruit that they returned in exchange for the use of the boat. All right, and Gordon Finn as well. The knowledge that they gained. So I like to include this in recaps for adventures. So basically, I can kind of keep track of what are the things that the player characters learned during this, and it's also good for the players to remember what their characters learned as well, because I separate what the characters know from what the players know. And obviously the players are always going to know much more than the characters are concerned, but if a character tries to demonstrate a knowledge that only the player would have, I, as a game master, don't acknowledge that. I don't let them have that knowledge or utilize that knowledge. And so I will remind them that no, that's not your character's recollection. So, rethink about that and role play it out a little bit differently. So that's the only time that I would kind of remind them. And my players tend to be very, very good players. And, my players tend to be very experienced, even if they're new to ShadowDark, which they, almost all of them are. It's still basic role-playing 101 kind of thing, in my opinion, that you separate player knowledge from character knowledge. All right, so they learn during this adventure that the island of El Morath is indeed eroding and falling into the Woolly Bay. The island did have a tree that produced the Gorgoth fruit, possibly created by the death of a dryad killed by a dagger of venom, which is they had stumbled upon her corpse with a dagger sticking in her back and her hands dug into the ground, and she was almost like petrified, and dried up, and where her hands went into the ground was meant to be reflected where the roots of the tree, which was prior to her death a regular apple tree that was then converted to this Gorgoth fruit tree. So, and then the island also had caskets of 2 nobles with signet rings, which they recovered. All right, the events during the session. The party of 4 dwarves sailed to the island on a fishing boat captained by Gordon Finn. The party encountered and were attacked by 3 Sahuagin, and they defeated them, but Brahm the priest was critically hit by one, nearly being killed by a single strike. However, in the aftermath of the fight, Brahm the priest failed his prayer for healing, and he lost the favor for the day. He basically failed his first healing roll. He used one of his fortune tokens to get a new roll, and he was rolling with advantage as well, which is a benefit that he had, for his healing, and he failed it again. So he had lost the healing. He lost his ability to heal for the rest of the day. So he was kind of distraught about it, but it was like, all right, we're going to keep on plugging forward. The party discovered the Gorgoth tree and secured 6 of the 8 fruit. They were hesitant to take all 8 fruit because they didn't know what that might do in their situation. They don't know if it would sink the whole island. They wouldn't know if there were any kind of other magical things that might occur by doing that. So they only took 6 of the 8 fruit. The party then entered the collapsing villa for the first time, thrown into complete darkness except for the use of their torches. All right, so we finally used a mechanic, uh, you know, very integral to ShadowDark, in that they had to light torches now in order to be able to see indoors. While inspecting the coffins, they were attacked by a wight. Initially, only Philippe's magic missiles were harming the undead creature. They kind of battled it off and then they fled. All right, and they returned to their boat for the night. They actually managed to get through the night without being interfered with, and so they, luckily, they were able to recover both their spells and as well as all of their hit points. And then they went back into the villa, where they once again encountered the wight. This time being a little better prepared for it because they knew it was coming. Once again, the magic missiles played a main role, and then Brahm, the priest, was able to cast a bless, which makes his hammer like the equivalent of a +2 weapon, and so he would be able to deal some damage, which he did during the combat. But ultimately, it was Philippe's magic missile, which he rolled a critical hit, which actually was enough to destroy the wight. After further searching, the party stumbled upon the slain dryad on the island and pulled the magic dagger from her back. Her body then crumbled to dust and decay. And then they assumed, well, let's go take a look at the tree really quick and see. And I described it as, the 2 remaining apples had fallen off the tree and rotted away, and the tree looked like it was decaying and dying. Overall, the session 1 treasure was a total of 495 gold value, excluding 140 gold pieces for the signet rings and a locket. The 3 fruits, the Gorgoth fruits that they were able to get compensated for, even though they're probably not the ones that are selling it on the black market, they got 60 gold pieces each for each of those Gorgoth fruits. There was a mithril locket with a halfling pitcher inside. That is a 20 gold piece value. However, I'm not assuming that they're selling that just yet, because there's a potential for an adventure hook tied to finding the provenance of this mithril lock. Pearl worth 40 gold, 3 paintings worth 60 gold pieces each, 2 signet rings worth 60 gold pieces each. They are also potentially an adventure hook, discovering what the signets actually refer to. 2 radiant pearls worth 40 gold pieces each, an obsidian statuette of El Morath worth 15 gold pieces, and then they picked up 2 magic items during this adventure, and these were written, in the adventure by Kelsey Dayon, so they did not come up as random. And they picked up a bag of holding, which is tremendous in this game system, and it's actually very, very useful in any D&D-esque game system anyway. And a +1 dagger of venom, all right, which deals once per day a weak poison, scorpion poison for 1d4 rounds. Overall, their session experience was 5 experience points. So I certainly wanted to reward all of the critical rolls that they made during this, plus their very first combat was going to give them 1. Just being on the adventure and surviving it was going to give them 2 experience points anyway. But they did so exceptionally well, and especially with the combat against the wight, and their very first combat and all. So I came out to roughly 5 experience points for the entire adventure. They also each ended up with 123 gold pieces, 7 silver pieces, and 5 copper pieces apiece. So I know that some of them were quite destitute as far as the starting gold was concerned, and so I'm glad that they were able to get out of this. Okay, so so there you pretty much have the entire recap of their first full adventure, and we had a great time. Really looking forward to the next session, and I just have to get rid of this thing here. Really looking forward to the next session, and I'll see where where they take the adventure next. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about a few ways to, if they do choose to follow either the Locket adventure hook or the Signet Ring adventure hook. I'm trying to see which way that they, I could kind of develop something, no matter what their choice is, and then we'll take it from there, and we'll see where it can go. I will probably definitely use one of these little adventures again. Oh, excuse me. Get a little sip of water. So definitely do one of these little adventures again. Plus, work in some other short adventure seeds along the way as well. And as always, allow the player choices to carry forward their campaign as they learn about and explore the world of Greyhawk. Oh, excuse me. It's been a long time since I've had coughs like that. So thanks for joining. Apologize for this closing out. Thanks for joining. I hope you enjoyed this video. And as always, feel free to leave your questions and comments in the comments section. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. As always, I look forward to seeing you on a gaming screen or at a convention sometime soon. You'll have a great rest of your day. Take care.